Hi everyone, my name is Jessica and today I wanted to discuss with you how to be successful in your job within the first 6 months. Now I know what you're thinking. If you're a new student going into the workforce, 6 months might be very ambitious, but whether you are a new student going into the workforce or a veteran in your industry and switching over to a new job, with these 3 things that I'm going to talk about in this video, I can ensure that you will be successful and on track to ramping up fully in your role. So the reason I wanted to talk about this specific topic was because in the last 10 years of being in the sales and IT industry, I have been able to be so lucky to coach and train people to ramp up in their existing role. This wasn't just when I was a manager of different teams. This is when I was kind of my peers and new people joining our team. I was always the first one to put up my hand saying, I want to coach, I want to train, I want to get them ramped up in their role. So I'm going to discuss 3 things that you can start doing to ramp up in your role. Now, before I get started, I did want to ask you, if you want to subscribe to my channel, I will be giving new content like this every single week. It would do me a huge favor if you would subscribe, as I believe only 20% of my views are subscribed viewers and subscribed people to my channel. So again, that 70% that's watching, if you hit that little red box down below, it would do me a solid. So thank you. Now let's get started. Number 1, how to be successful in the first 6 months would be understanding your why. Why did you want this job in the first place? Why did you go for the interview? Why did you go for this promotion? Or maybe you're finished school and you're a student and this is your first job. But understanding your why, is it, I want to make more money, I want to support my family, I want to have a good work-life balance, I want to learn maybe the technical aspect of this job, I want to learn this skill. Whatever that why is, write it out, make sure it's solid, make sure no one can shake it if they question your why. Once you know your why, every time you are struggling in your job, you can go back to your why. I think for the first 1 to 2 years of my job, I wrote my why on my desk. I had a little piece of paper and I wrote exactly why I wanted this job. And it might have changed from the interview phase to maybe the first month in the job. Maybe it was different after you got the job than what it appeared in the interview. This why can change, but once you are in the job for a month, that why should stay pretty stable and you should really understand why you're doing the job. And again, why you do that is just because you stay focused, and when things get hard, you look at that why every time below your monitor and you go, I can keep doing this because the end is going to be worth it. Now, number 2, I even tell my existing team, is show up. And show up doesn't just mean sitting down in a chair and not actively listening. Showing up means actively listening, being curious, asking questions, telling people when you don't know something. Be vulnerable. I remember my first month to maybe 3 to 4 months, depends who's watching this video, I did not know much about VMware or any technical stuff about IT or software. I was not fantastic, but I always showed up. I put up my name and I said, hey, you know what? I don't know how to do this. Could you help me? Could you get on a phone call with the customer? I'm struggling. As long as you're communicating during those first 3 months, you will get a lot of those answers to do your job. The more vulnerable you can be when you show up, the better you will learn, and the better you will be, because you will get those answers. And actually, my ego was almost embarrassed to ask the same silly question a second time. But it's great to be vulnerable, show up, be curious, ask questions, and just be present. So if you're on team meetings or you're on internal calls, don't just show up, go on mute or go off camera. If the rest of your colleagues are on camera, go off mute. Everybody wants to hear what you have to say. Even if you feel like you don't have anything to say or any value, everyone has something good to say and everybody is interesting. And so I would recommend, especially during these virtual times, show up, participate, talk, learn, and be curious. And lastly is, it kind of sums up the first two things I said, is become a student. So when I started learning VMware a couple of years ago, I had a notebook and I was drawing out just different whiteboards and how do I explain VMware to my parents? How do I explain to my grandma? How do I explain to my friends that are not in the same industry? I literally felt like I was going back to university because there's so much to know about the software industry. And how do you consume it all in 6 months? You can't. So you have to focus on modules, just like in university or college or even high school. You have to focus on, okay, this month I'm going to learn this. And I'm going to write out everything about this. I'm going to learn. I'm going to give presentations to my colleagues. I'm going to listen to lectures and presentations. And the next month, I'm going to do something completely different. So set your calendar out in modules and don't focus on all of the modules at once. Focus on one thing at a time. Be really good at that and then move on. That's exactly how I did. Focus on one thing at a time, as well as my colleagues that are super successful. They don't focus on the full mountain. They focus on that one step at a time. And then finally at 6 months, they're almost already at the top, or they can see the top and it's not as intimidating. So those would be my 3 things. I'm curious if you are a trainer or a coach and you have any best practices, feel free to comment below. I really love this topic because I really love investing my time into people and watching them grow and watching them learn and develop their careers and climb that corporate ladder. So thank you so much for watching and we will see you next time. Thanks. Goodbye.